What's up, everyone? Grandstand Bettors here. 2 goals, 1 puck for Tuesday, January 31st. Welcome on in, friends of the channel. I'm going to tell you right now, we went 4-2 last week. And again, I'll preach this till the cows come home. Yes, we're going to give out a 6-pack parlay, but you guys should be really betting these as single bets. We have another 6-pack parlay for you today. We can get to any bets that you guys might be looking at. What's up, Cole? See you in the chat. Nice to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. So yeah, we're coming off a 4-2 Tuesday last week. We totally missed on a college basketball game. The other loss was kind of close. Could have been 5-1, but hey, a 4-2 day is profitable. Welcome in. Hope everybody's having a fantastic Tuesday afternoon / early evening. We're going to get right into our picks. We're not going to dilly-dally, and we got a good one. We have a 6-pack parlay for you today that is actually going to pay over 100 to 1 odds. Now, did we do that because it's a little more entertaining? We sure did. So we're gonna preface this before we get into our parlay. Always bet these singly, maybe half unit, 0.75 of a unit. And then throw 0.15, 0.25 on the parlay itself. We'll get into what everything is and what it pays out at the end of the show. Meanwhile, if you guys are watching us on Twitter, watching us on YouTube, and you have any questions about anything that maybe you're looking at that maybe you want to bet, we'll get to that in a little bit. Also, make sure you follow us on Twitter at Grandstand Bets, on YouTube at Grandstand Bettors, and on TikTok, where we're having a little 5K to 400K challenge. We're up over about a little over $2,600 here in the first 3 weeks of that. So look forward to seeing you guys on all our social media. But we are going to dive into our 6-pack parlay, and we're going to start in the NBA. We got 2 plays in the NBA. They're both the same. They're both going to be player props. The type of player props are the same. And we're going to start with the Lakers, who continue to really struggle. Listen, these guys, they are sitting a couple games out right now of, honestly, any type of playoff spot. In the play-in situation, they're 4-6 in their last 10 games. They don't look good. They're going to be at Madison Square Garden tonight, where they're going to face the Knicks. A team that, honestly, when you watch the Knicks, they show like they could be a potential contender in the East. But then there's other times that you're like, there's no way this team even makes the playoffs. So that's an interesting team to watch out for the rest of the way in the NBA season. But the Knicks, they are currently in the 7th seed, but they are 5-5 over their last 10. Now, in this game, we're going to look at a player prop with Patrick Beverley. Listen, Beverley, as the year has gone on, has become more of an active player for the Lakers. Now, his stats, they may not show, his production. He only averages about 6.5 points per game on the year total. But in 4 of his last 8 games, he has put up over 10 points. Now, the Knicks, they do have the 12th best scoring defense in the league. So I doubt that this guy's going to put up huge amounts of numbers or points tonight. So instead, we're going to look at him shooting from beyond the arc. The Knicks, in correlation with having the 12th best scoring defense, they're actually 5th best in the NBA in holding opponents to less than 35% from beyond the 3-point line. However, with that said, this is kind of interesting. They do give up the second most threes per game because they are giving up the most second most 3-point attempts per game, around 38. But teams are making about 13 threes per game against them. Patrick Beverley, he has shot 5 threes in 6 of his last 8 games. And in 4 of those, he has made at least 2. I got to be honest with you guys. When I looked at this, I thought to myself, okay, hey, plus 155 over 1.5, that's too easy, right? But I understand. He's not really a three-point threat. The Knicks do have a good defense beyond the arc, but I think we're getting too good of a price here on Patrick Beverley. So with our first play of our 6-pack, I am going to take Patrick Beverley over 1.5 made threes tonight for the Lakers at plus 155. I think that's a great price. Honestly, on a quick side note, I looked at LeBron James because this guy against a team that, gives up about 38 three-point attempts per game. LeBron James, this guy, I almost went his way, but you would be surprised to see that he has not hit more than 2.5 threes in back-to-back games since December 2nd. So I did stay away from LeBron James. If you do want to pivot and you want to go to him, I'm not hating that play at all. I think you could get it. It was right around like minus 110, 115, something like that. What's up, Al? Good to see you, buddy. Welcome on in. We're going to stick with the NBA for our second prop bet and our second play of the 6-pack parlay tonight. And we're going to look at the Miami Heat and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, I'm not a Cavs fan, but they are in my city, so I do pay attention to them. It should be a great game, in all honesty, in the scope of what this means to the Eastern Conference. If you are a Cavs fan and you're still you're honestly still competing for the top spot in the East, and if you are a Heat fan, a win here honestly puts you in position where you're getting a little bit closer to the Cavs and maybe inching forward where you can jump them and maybe compete for home court advantage going into the playoffs. Now, the Heat, they have looked really good as of late. They've won 7 of their last 10. And like the Cavs do, they do it with their defense. Both of these teams, they're ranked 1 and 2 in defensive scoring, which is probably why, honestly, the total of this game opened at around 209 for tonight's game. Although, on a quick side note here, actually, that's being bet up despite money coming in on the under. So if you are looking at a total for this game, keep in mind that is what we call reverse line movement. Honestly, I did put that on our member card today. That's a little extra bet. We did take the over. Now, we got it when it opened at 209. So that is some reverse line movement going on the Heat and the Cavs. It's a little bonus in studio bet you're getting. But that is a little educational piece. That is reverse line movement there. Anyways, despite the Cavs being the best defensive team in the NBA in terms of scoring, they are awful at guarding beyond the arc. They're 4th worst in the NBA, giving up 37% from deep, which is surprising since they do give up, the 3rd least amount of threes per game. So unlike the Knicks, who give up a ton of threes, but actually don't allow a great shooting percentage, the Cavs allow a great shooting percentage, but give up not that many threes. Now, that might be different tonight, though, as the Heat love to shoot the ball from deep, especially this man that we're looking at, Tyler Hero. Hero in 70% of his games. I'm not even talking yesterday or last week or last month. I'm talking for the season. In 70% of his games, he has attempted 7 3-point shots or more per game. And he even has 5 games in which he's attempted more than 13 threes. Now, honestly, in January, he's taken kind of a huge dip down. He's only made about 2.3 threes out of 7.3 attempts per game. But he is coming off a 5 for 9 performance against the Hornets, and still on the year, he does average 3 made threes per game. I think this one out of everyone is honestly going to be the sweatiest bet, but with our second play of our 6-pack parlay, we are going to take Tyler Hero over 2.5 made threes, and you can get that at minus 110. So that's our NBA. We got 2 prop bets there, over 2.5 threes. One over 2.5 threes with Tyler Hero, and then we have the first one. I'll recap it all, guys, for you. I see the first one that I gave out was Patrick Beverley, and he was over 1.5 threes. That was at plus 155. Hero just had a kid, has been bad since. He has, but his last game, he was much better. So we'll see. He has, not sleeping well at night, but maybe sometimes having a kid, as we've seen a lot in PGA Tours, actually brings out the best of you. So we'll see what he does tonight. As I mentioned, I think it is going to be the sweatiest out of all 6 of these bets, but good knowledge there, Al, for sure. Now, with the NBA out of the way, let's move on to our bread and butter, something I've been betting for decades here, and that is the NHL. And we have a money line, we have a total, and we have a player prop in the NHL tonight. Let's first look at a game. The Carolina Hurricanes, they're absolutely looking like the best team in the NHL by far. These guys have only dropped 9 games, and they've posted 72 points just over midway through the season. That is absolutely nuts when you think about that. I still think it's going to be tough, but they are somewhat, kind of, on pace to take down the 1976 and 77 Habs team that had a 132 total points in their season. Either way, though, the Kings, they come into this one on the road. It's going to be a large task in front of them going up against the best team in the NHL. But to be fair to the Kings, although they don't have 72 points, they are in 3rd place in the Pacific, only 2 points out of 1st place, which Seattle Kraken, surprisingly, are in that spot right now. But we're talking Kings, and the Kings, they have been winning because of a top 10 power play unit and a little bit of defense, but mostly because of a rising star in goal named Phoenix Copley. This guy, 15-3 on the season with a 2.82 goal against average and over a 900 save percentage. If you compare him to the other 2 goalies that the Kings have used this year, Quick and Peterson, those guys are only 13-15, and they're giving up 3.5 goals per game, and both have a save percentage of less than .882. Now, the Hurricanes in this game, they're a heavy favorite, and rightfully so. So, as they give up the least amount of shots on goal per game, only 26, and they have the 4th least amount of goals per game at 2.62. On top of that, tonight, you got Frederik Andersen, who is most likely going to start, and he is 10-3 with a 2.38 goal against average. Of course, they're going to be heavy favorites. However, as I mentioned, I've been betting hockey now, NHL specifically, for over 2 decades. And here's something that I've learned in the first 2 or 3 that I started betting, but that has continuously proven to be true, and that is the days leading up to the All-Star break, the best teams in the NHL tend to write those games off. Teams that have had a wonderful first half of the season, these guys are looking ahead to getting a much-needed break, spending time with their family, going to the All-Star game. The Kings, they're a decent team, and I think that they are being bet down, quite honestly, to an outrageous price at the moment. We got them at 175. I'm not sure what they are at the moment, but I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to make our 3rd pick of our 6-pack, the LA Kings on the money line. And quite honestly, if this one doesn't hit tonight, I think I'm going to double down tomorrow on the Hurricanes losing to the Sabres, because that trend always hits. In fact, just a couple days ago, we saw that with the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Edmonton Oilers. And speaking of the Columbus Blue Jackets, let's take a look at their matchup tonight, as we do have a bet in that game. The Caps and the Blue Jackets, those guys are going to have very different plans heading into the All-Star break this year. The Capitals, they're fighting for a playoff spot, and the Blue Jackets are the worst team in the NHL. Now, the Blue Jackets are not first in many things when it comes to statistical categories or even near the top of the league. But one area that they are high in, or actually second in the NHL in, is shots given up per game with over 35. Now, this undoubtedly has been the reason they are giving up 3.86 goals per game. Well, that and Corpusalo, I don't know, I think I got it right, who is 8-9-2 in net for the Blue Jackets. And they give up he gives up 3.31 goals per game. All those factors have really allowed the Blue Jackets to give up a massive amount of points or goals. and they just haven't been good this year. Now, tonight, he's going to face off against Charlie Lindgren, who is 11-6 with a 2.65 goal against average. So with all that said, I honestly think the play here has got to be the Capitals on the money line, right? Well, no. First, maybe it is. But second, I'm not laying 215 on the money line on the Capitals in a spot that I just spoke about with good teams maybe looking ahead to the All-Star break. And Lindgren, who has been good this year, he has not been great. This guy is 0-2 in his last 2 starts this year. And even in a recent relief appearance, he gave up 2 goals. I'm going to go contrarian here tonight, as I think a lot of people will be on the under here. But honestly, I can see this game being like a 5-3 shootout. So with our 4th play of our 6-pack parlay, we're going to take the Washington Capitals and the Columbus Blue Jackets over 6.5 goals. And we found that at plus 100. And I just want to see what it's at now, because I want to see if it did get bet up, or if it did honestly maybe start to go as a non-contrarian play. Let's take a look at it on DraftKings. Guys, remember, if you want any advice on any plays tonight, throw anything you're looking at in the chat, and we'll get to it at the end of our 6-pack parlay. But if you look at the NHL, the Washington Capitals have now shot up to a minus 105. So we got the best number at plus 100. It has been bet up just a little bit. But, excuse me, let's finish out our NHL. Let's finish out our NHL player props. And, yeah, Carl, was it still there? All right, where I took it at DraftKings, it moved just a nickel, which isn't much. But our last play, it is one more. I'm sorry, our second to last play. But our last play in the NHL is going to be a prop bet here on the other game we haven't talked about in the NHL. That's the Ottawa Senators. And listen, our last NHL bet tonight, this prop bet, it's between 2 teams that, like the Blue Jackets, honestly don't have anything going for them. The Senators and the Canadiens, they're not going to make the playoffs. They're just not going to in this year. Again, although the Senators have looked good lately, winning 3 games. Once again, it's disappointing for Ottawa's fan base, and quite honestly, the Habs fan base, especially with the Habs being so good in the 70s, 80s, whatever. I mean, they've just, in the last 2 decades, it's been awful. But I get off on a tangent. There's one guy that's looked good for Ottawa, and that's Claude Giroux. This guy's been unreal in his last 3 games. Okay, he's posted 4 goals, 3 assists, for a total of 7 points over those games. That is more points than he's posted actually in the 10 previous games. Now, these 2 teams, they just played each other 3 nights ago, and the Senators won 5-0 with Giroux putting 2 in the net and having an assist with 4 shots on goal, which is a much different score line than when they played earlier this season. Back in December, he had a -1 rating with 4 shots on goal, 3 shots on goal. Excuse me, but nothing else to show for that night in a 3-2 win over the Habs. Now, I know that was a lot, and I coughed, but honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're paying attention at home, and I hope you are, you should see 2 consistencies that you should have taken from those 2 stats. Number 1, the Senators have owned the Habs as of late. They've won both games. They've outscored them 8-2 in those 2 games, and Giroux has put up 3 or more shots on goal in each of the games that he's faced the Habs. And right now, this guy is fire on ice. I look for Giroux to continue his dominance on the ice and put up shots against the 5th worst team in the NHL in terms of shots given up per game on goal. So, with our 5th play of our 6-pack, we are going to take Claude Giroux over 2.5 shots on goal. Al, I'll get to your questions here. Let me get through the 6th one, and I'll get to it. Carl, you had it on FanDuel. Cool. Maybe I'll double down and head on over to FanDuel. We'll see. But we do have one last play in our 6-pack parlay, and we're going to look at college hoops, and we're going to look at some Maction. I got to be honest, Maction has not been good to me lately, so I don't know. Maybe this is the one that's going to be the sweatiest, but I'm going to look at the Buffalo Bulls, who will take on the Akron Zips. And after starting 2-0 in conference play, the Bulls have lost 4 of their last 6 games. Now, this mostly can be attributed to their defense, which is almost dead last in college basketball, giving up nearly 79 points per game. And to be honest, they do not get out to great starts, which puts them behind the 8 ball. Again, they're almost dead last in first half points given up. Now, the good news for Buffalo is that they have a great offense to keep up with that defense. They're putting up nearly 77 points per game, and it is truly a team effort. They got 8 players averaging about 17 minutes per game. Their scoring is led by Curtis Jones, Inzid Powell, and Isaiah Adams. Those guys average a combined 40 points per game. But the bad news for the Bulls tonight is they play a very good defensive team in Akron. The Zips hold their opponents to under 65 points per game. The Zips, despite having won 6 straight conference games, they really haven't played anybody. Of those 6 games that they've played, all of them was against the bottom 6 in the MAC. I honestly think the Bulls have a chance to win this game tonight, and I think that this game is honestly going to be won on the boards, which, if you look at the statistics, the Bulls have a better rebounding squad than Akron does. So, with our final leg of our 6-pack parlay, I am going to take the Buffalo Bulls on the money line at plus 125. Now, creating our 6-pack parlay, honestly, I just wanted for entertainment reasons to get it over 100-1 odds. So that's why I did take the Bulls on the money line. However, I'm also a man of my word, and I believe that all parlays are entertainment. So, again, I advise you to bet these games separately. And when you do that, take the Buffalo Bulls plus 2.5. If you're going to put in the parlay and you want the 100-1 odds, sure, put a money line. But when you bet it separately, take them plus 2.5. I think that's the better play here. It gives you kind of a little bit of wiggle room. So before we get into our recap, let's take a look at some questions. Al, Jokic triple-double at plus 140. Let's take a look at it. Let me see what I'm getting. Oh, let's see what I'm getting. They play the Pelicans tonight. And okay, so I'm gonna let you guys, I'm here for education on what I do. I love to tell people what I do. And the thing I'm gonna look at is points in the paint. I'm gonna look at points in the paint. And I know he can shoot from the outside too, but I want to look at points in the paint given up by the Pelicans. So let's see here. Let's take a look at some stats. Scoring defense, points in the paint. Okay, so first thing is, so New Orleans does give up quite a bit of their bottom tier in points in the paint. Let's take a look at the rebounds per game, as I assume that's, obviously a big one. Rebounds. So New Orleans is 6th best in total rebounds per game. And I know that I'm not saying, I know he gets the majority of rebounds per game, but that is something that might make me hesitant on taking him. Let me just out of curiosity see what his rebounds per game is, though. It's 10.5 at minus 135. To me, that's a little bit of a trap play, but you got to think he's going to get over that, right? Whew. That's man. If it would have said like 13.5, 12.5, the only thing that's hesitant to me in just looking at that quickly from it is New Orleans they're 6th best in giving up rebounds. They don't give up many rebounds, and that's I'd be hesitant with that. Are you going with assists as the next one? And let's see what. Let's just dive into what New Orleans gives up for assists too. So New Orleans, kind of middle of the road. All right, I'll be honest with you. That's your call, Al. I would lean no. I don't think he does. That's just my opinion. Also, Al, you were talking about in college basketball, you like Wake Forest plus 8.5, Clemson team total over 71, and Kent State over 78. Let me see what I handicap those at real quick. All right, let's start first. Wake Forest plus 8. And let's see what we get. Well, I had it at like 8.3, so that's I don't have a thought on that. It's going to be close. Clemson team total over 71. No, I had the under on that. I did. I did have the under on that. I had it at like 67.9. But you hit that over last time, Al, man. So that was a good pick, that Missouri. I remember that. By the way, if you're in the chat, guys, listen to Al. That guy, good better. He had Missouri team total. I think that hit last week, right? I'm 100% sure it did. Kent State over 78.5. Take a look at that. Some more Maction. What do we got? More Maction. Where did it? Yes, I do like that against Central Michigan for sure. Central Michigan, let me go back to my stats on Central Michigan because that was something else that I saw actually handicapping the game of the Buffalo. Let me go back to them. They are not very good defensively. Stats. So Central Michigan gives up, what is it? Yeah, they're giving up 72.6 points per game. Yeah, that's what I saw. In the last 3, they've given up over 82 points per game. So I am a fan of that one, Al, for sure. I'm a fan of that. Hopefully, though, I mean, they don't get things corrected. But in the last 3, yeah, they're giving up over 82. So, yeah, I'm definitely a fan of that one. Clemson, that'd be a pass for me. I'm sorry, Wake Forest would be a pass. Clemson, the under there. And then I do like that. But I'm not going to bet that. I'll ride one with you, though, Al. I'll ride the team total of the Kent State, to be honest. I think Central Michigan's really bad on defense. And, in fact, if you dive in, the funny thing is if you actually dive into them defensively as a whole, they're 242nd in college basketball and giving up points per game. Yeah, just not good stuff. And they give up a ton of free throws. They give up, they're almost dead last in, wow, that's crazy. Their opponents average about 23 free throws per game. And if you're looking for an over on a team total or an over for a game, that is definitely something that you want to look at. So yeah, they're pretty bad in fouling and giving up free throws. So yeah, good stuff, guys. Let me recap the 6-pack parlay. If you have any other questions, you're looking at any other games, you want any other thoughts on, let me know in the chat. But let's just recap the 6-pack parlay. So if you're just joining us, you can see what we bet on tonight. We got Patrick Beverley over 1.5 made threes. That is at plus 155. That's what we got it at. In fact, let me just see what you could get it at now. It might have not moved, but let me just see. That's at 7:30. That's in just about 45 minutes. And let's see here. You can get it at now. Right now, you can get at, where is he at? Is he out? Oh, is he out? Hold on a second. You know what? I'm going to have to look at the starting lineups now because I don't even see him on the board anymore. Beverly's out. All right, Beverly's out. So I just saw that. He's been ruled out for tonight. So in all honesty, if we need to pivot here, guys, I am going to take LeBron over 2.5, which you can get at plus 120. I know he hasn't hit. It's been about a month and a half since he has hit 2.5 shots from 3 in a row in back-to-back games. But with Beverly out and the Knicks giving up a ton of threes, I like that price at plus 120. That's only going to make this parlay even better. So Patrick Beverly is out. I just saw that. I don't know why he's out, which is a little interesting. He left knee soreness. Okay, man. Come on. You're old. We get it. All right, so he's out. But yeah, if you want to switch it up, it probably won't make it 100-1 as it's only plus 120. But I would take LeBron in that situation. So I'm gonna pivot. I can't change my bet that I'm gonna show you here in a minute. But yeah, LeBron James over 1.5 made threes. Tyler Hero over 2.5 made threes. I like the LA Kings money line. I'm telling you, when teams that are just absolutely killing it and they go in to a all-star break, especially in the NHL, they tend to trip up. And I think the LA Kings take advantage tonight, especially with Frederik Andersen in goal. Our fourth one was Washington Capital. I'm sorry. Our third one was, 2, 4. Yeah. Fourth one was Capitals, Columbus Blue Jackets over 6.5. Fifth one was Claude Giroux over 2.5 shots on goal. And rounding out that Buffalo money line. But again, make sure you bet all these singly. I would take Buffalo plus 2.5 on that. So if you did parlay all those, this is what it originally looked like with Patrick Beverley in there. But if you did parlay all of those, this is what comes up. You have a bet that's plus 109.58, which is a $10 wager into almost $1,100. So that's what you got going on. Listen, if you don't want to pivot and you just want to take the 5, now that Patrick Beverley's out, hey, more power to you. I might throw just a single bet there on LeBron James at plus 120. I just think with Beverley out, the Knicks giving up so many threes, I just think there's opportunity here. What's up, Daryl? How you doing, man? We're just about to end it. If anybody has any more questions or any advice they want for tonight's slate, I'll give it a minute. But appreciate y'all being here. Again, Grandstand Bettors, we will be here every single Tuesday at 6:15. 2 pucks, 1 goal. That is our show. That's our live sports show where we figure out what we're betting tonight. And it's a fun time to hang out with friends, family, and sports fans all alike, right? So we went 4-2 last week. I hope we can do better this week. But even 4-2 every single week is going to be a profitable week for us. I am going to pivot. I'm going to officially take LeBron. I do think the more that internally I'm thinking about this, LeBron has had a great game. I think he went 5 for 9. Was it 5 for 9? Maybe that was Hero. Let me look up LeBron real quick. Before I tell you the wrong information, LeBron did have a good game from deep. He went 6 for 12 against Boston. Okay, he went 6 for 12 against Boston. I'm gonna tell you right now, he's fired up. That game didn't go the way that he wanted, as we all saw. He whined like a little baby, as he usually does. He had 41 points. I would be not surprised if he hits threes. So I am going to insert that. I'm going to just, I can't switch it out on my parlay now, but I'm definitely going to insert that now. So, guys, thank you for sticking around. 2 goals, 1 puck. That's it for now. Hopefully, hey, maybe we go 5-6-0. That'd be great, right? But we'll see y'all next week for our next 2 goals, 1 puck. And we hope you have a great rest of the week. And make sure you join us on Twitter at Grandstand Bets, TikTok at Grandstand Bettors, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't right here on YouTube. Have a good one, everybody, and we will see you next week.